In response to labor shortages, Wisconsin's state Senate has decided to approve a bill that would loosen up regulations pertaining to child labor. Get those kids back at work. Make them work long hours. That's what the solution is apparently to the labor shortage. Wisconsin currently sticks to federal child labor laws, which stipulate that people under the age of 16 can only work between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. from June 1st to Labor Day, and between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. for the rest of the year. But here's what the state Senate just did. Wisconsin Senate approved a bill on Wednesday that would allow 14 and 15-year-olds to work from 6 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. on days before a school day, and 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. when the next day isn't a school day. The bill, by the way, would keep in place federal rules limiting teens to 3 hours of work on a school night, 8 hours on non-school days, and 6 days of work per week. And by the way, if some of you guys are wondering, all right, well, what does this mean in regard to the amount that 14-year-olds would be paid, right? You would assume that they would get paid minimum wage. Well, minor workers are entitled to be paid the same minimum wage as other workers, but workers under 20 can be paid as little as $4.25 an hour for up to 90 days of training. If a state has a higher minimum wage, that would supersede the minor wage. But in Wisconsin, the minimum wage is tied to the federal minimum wage at just $7.25 an hour. In fact, Wisconsin's minimum wage tied to the federal minimum wage, a special minimum wage of just $5.90 per hour, $2.13 per hour for tipped employees, is applicable to opportunity employees under 20 years old who have worked for less than 90 days with their current employer. So it's very likely that some of these 14-year-olds who end up working late into the night will get paid just a measly $5.90 per hour. But I'm sure there will be all sorts of justifications for why that's okay. They're young, they deserve to be underpaid and exploited like that.
Okay, well, we've got a new champion in euphemisms. Child labor is now opportunity employees. Did you notice that? They just say it without like, oh yeah, of course. And torture is enhanced interrogation, and child labor is opportunity employees.
It's a great opportunity to be exploited.
We gave you an opportunity to get paid less and learn to like it, because that's what's gonna happen the rest of your life. Now let's talk about the reality of why they're doing this. Is it to give people more of an opportunity? Does anybody still believe that? Okay, so number one, this helps, they have a labor shortage. And why do they have a labor shortage? Because they're not paying enough. You know, labor shortages can be solved overnight by paying more. That's just simple economics. It's like literally what you learn in Econ 101. No, it's not at all complicated. Pay more, you won't have any labor shortage, right? But they don't want to pay more to adults. So they say, what if we paid less to kids and had them work till 11 o'clock at night, and that way we don't have to pay the adults? And the Republicans in Wisconsin go, yes, that's a great idea. Kids, back to the mines, okay? Now, one other aspect of this, when they talk about, oh, look, there's this mythology of it's these young kids who are, got a summer job, they're looking for extra allowance, and this lets them know how the real world works in a good way, and they work their way up, and it's so they build this mythology, and then of course the media trumpets that out as if that's what's actually happening. No, like, is it true that there's a small percentage of people who are already wealthy, but their kids, they want them to learn a lesson or two and they're working at the local pizzeria? Sure, but the overwhelming majority of the cases are Bobby's working at the pizzeria because mom and dad don't make enough and they don't have money to give him an allowance. So he has to work there. He has to work there oftentimes for himself, but oftentimes also to help the family. This is not like some rosy picture you see on TV where they're like, oh, Bobby's getting some experience, and oh, he had a good summer job, and sure, he worked a little longer because that taught him how to be a man and understand the value of hard work. No, Bobby's got to help mom and dad because they don't have enough money because they're not getting paid any wages. Now they say, well, Bobby, now when you go to work, you're gonna get paid less than mom, and that's gonna squeeze mom and dad out of the labor force, and that way corporations will make even more money. That's what this is about.
That is what this is about. And I think the point you made about wanting to essentially respond to the labor shortage with increasing the pool of potential workers with the lowest paid workers is the best point. That's what this is really about. It's a way to prevent what we're told time and time again is the best part about capitalism, right? That it's all about market forces. And in this case, you have workers who are standing up to terrible pay, terrible working conditions. And what do you think they do? They find loopholes, they find ways to get around it. Not by increasing pay or actually listening to the workers, but in this case, by increasing the pool of workers with individuals who would be paid far less, 14-year-olds. That's it, that's all this is.
And now let me go back to my, unfortunately, the thing that I harp on too much, but is relevant here. Oh my God, child labor is back. And there's several mainstream media articles I read on it, didn't even note it. They've painted it in a generally positive light.
Yep.
What the hell's positive about this? But they have no concept of how hard it is for actual Americans working out there at these starvation wages. And they don't, as reporters, they don't even bother pointing out, what are we doing here? This crushes the average worker, not just Bobby. And why is Bobby at 14 years old working at 11 o'clock for depressed wages? No, not one hint of criticism. And generally painted as, hey, look at this, Bobby's got an opportunity.
Yeah, and let me just make a prediction right here, right now. Remember, the 14-year-olds will get paid far less than the federal minimum wage, which is already pathetic, right? Federal minimum wage $7.25. In Wisconsin, they'll get paid a little more than $5 an hour, as long as it's 90 days or less. Any day above 90 days, they'd have to make the federal minimum wage. Don't be surprised if you see corporations succeed in lobbying lawmakers to repeal that federal rule regarding the 90 days for minors. Okay?
Of course.
I mean, we see, again, this country is run by corporations. We've seen how effective lobbying is. You don't think they're gonna lobby to repeal that law? They'll lobby to repeal that law and they'll succeed. And I guarantee you're gonna see a massive workforce of 14 and 15-year-olds working for less than minimum wage, less than the federal minimum wage.
So last thing on this is politics. So if Wisconsin has a Democratic governor, he should veto this. It should be easy, the easiest thing he's ever done. Will he? I have no idea. That's the sorry state of the Democratic Party. And the people who suggested this, so you're clear about it, are all the Republicans in Wisconsin. They think child labor is a great idea and lower wages is a great idea. It's literal. You can go ask them and they'll give you a whole bunch of excuses why you should make less money and their donors should make more off of your work. But there's no question, Republicans in Wisconsin say, bring the kids back to work and pay them less. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.